Alright, so how's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well. We're live on twitch.tv/NozaParks. You know what I'm saying? We're here Tuesdays and Thursdays. So what we're doing today is that we are going to be discussing Neutral 101. So what does this mean and what does this look like? So I tried to split this up into three important parts that often need to be discussed, I feel like. Okay, don't mind the other alt buttons there, but these are the three things I want to go over. Okay, understanding the range of your buttons, understanding the purpose behind each button, and then your basic offense structure. Okay, now granted, this last one is going to be a little bit different based on the characters that you play, but the first two are pretty generic and you need to understand what your buttons do. So let's get into it. Let's start off with understanding the range of your buttons. So now that we're in here, let's talk about range of your buttons. So naturally, you don't want to be whiffing your buttons all too often, right? Because the more that you whiff your buttons, the higher the chance of you in fact whiffing and getting whiff punished for them, right? So you don't want to give your opponent the opportunity to do so. So what you need to understand is where I'm allowed to press certain buttons. Naturally, I don't want to be pressing something like crouching medium punch at this range, or even at this range right in front of them, because if I happen to whiff this and they hit me back for it, it's naturally not going to be a good situation to be in. So how do we work on this? This is something that maybe you need to take a couple moments in the lab to really go over. This is probably the easiest of the three to really understand, is more so what ranges you can press your lights in versus your medium versus your versus your heavy buttons. Okay, so when it comes to this finalizing which buttons you can press, naturally this is going to be different across all the characters. So when it comes to dealing with your heavies, you don't want to instantly go towards your heavies, because in some ranges, let me just get block reversal into light kick. Granted, the light kick's not that great, but if you start pressing heavy normals really close, if you start pressing heavy normals really close, you can potentially start opening yourself up to situations where you get hit. And obviously we don't want to do this. But we can also press jabs at relative safety, and based on the last video I made going over jabs, you can naturally go for jabs and kind of structure your offense this way. Okay? Naturally, when it comes to this mid-range section, although we can opt to press your heavy options with medium levels of safety, the reason why we may want to gravitate towards our medium buttons is because our medium buttons are a little bit quicker than our heavy ones naturally, right? Because heavy buttons tend to be the slowest, medium buttons tend to be the middle between lights and heavies, and lights generally are the fastest situation but the shortest range. So you want to be making sure that you're understanding which ones to press at what time, and this leads into the second part that I was referring to, which is understanding the purpose behind your button. So if you clicked on this video, I'm sure you need some help. Lord knows I did at some point. But here's the thing, you want your favorite content creators to come and help you, but let's be real, they're charging like $60 per hour. You don't need that, but when I got you good. Over on this channel, I do free coaching sessions on Tuesdays and on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. EST. So what does that look like? I essentially go over your matches. I give you tools so that you can succeed the next time you open up rank. So once again, join my Discord. Wait till I'm live either on Tuesdays or on Thursdays 6:30 p.m. EST. Be there or be square. And yeah, I'm not your favorite pro, but I'm available. Those pros are not available. So once again, join the live, get better, and I'll help you improve. Back to the video. Now, the best way I can describe this to you is the fact that people feel as though Manon's crouching medium punch serves no purpose because it's not drive rushable, right? You can't drive rush off of it. So what does it do? It has no purpose. But If I switch them, well, either one works to be honest, but if I switch this lovely lady to crouching medium kick, a common button for a lot of characters to press because it gives them access to offense. So let's say I decide to do this. Now they whiff in my face, but what does that mean? That also means if they whiff in my face, it gives me an opportunity to whiff punish them, right? If it gives me an opportunity to whiff punish and people are not actively taking advantage of this, this is why we come across so many issues. It's because we don't understand the purpose behind our buttons. Now granted, there are buttons that serve multiple different purposes. A great example of this is our good friend Luke, where essentially this button kind of does it all. Where it's our whiff punishing tool. It's also it's everything, honestly. It's our whiff punishing tool. It's also our plus on block move. It's also like it's also how you want to start your offense. It does pretty much everything. So when it comes to Luke, you can pretty much press this button and basically run your offense like that, right? For other characters, you're gonna have to diversify your options because you're not given such niceties, let's call it. Okay, so we also have access to our crouching medium kick versus our standing heavy punch. Why would we prefer the crouching medium kick over the standing heavy punch? Sometimes it may be because crouching medium kick is fast enough to punish somebody, but our standing heavy punch, although it has greater reward and possibly greater damage off of it, it may be too slow to punish the situation. On top of which, this gives you plus frames. So again, understanding what button gives you what purpose, really important as to how you can function or how to function in neutral. Once you start to understand what buttons you're allowed to press in neutral, that will open up the arena of options that you have. Or cornucopia? What do I want to use there? I'm not sure. But let's go on to the third one, which is offense structure. Okay. Now this one is going to be super generic because number one, people don't even understand this, but number two, it varies between from character to character, and I want to be very careful about how I word this because I want to make sure that I'm portraying the right message. So essentially, when it comes to offense structure 101, when it comes to neutral, okay, there's two schools of thought when walking forward. Okay, when you try to walk forward on your enemy has one of two options. They're either A, going to try and fight back, or B, walk back. Okay, the reason why they walk back is because they want to maintain the same amount of space that there was before. In the case that you whiff punish something and they can whiff punish you back, they have enough space to whiff punish you back. Okay, this is the 101 thought. Now, how do they counter each other? If you as the aggressor try to walk forward and your opponent is constantly trying to press, because you can't be walking and crouch walking at the same time, you kind of have to switch between the two. So if your opponent starts doing something like that and you keep trying to walk into them, you'll end up getting hit for it, right? But what you can do is that you can walk forward, walk back. Now the reason why we walk forward, walk back is because we walk forward as if we're going to press them, but we walk back in order to bait out their button. This is why we see a lot of our opponents walking back and forth a lot of the time, because they're looking for a button to whiff punish. So let me show you how it's done. Oh, I definitely did it wrong. That low forward is deceptively. So essentially that's the idea, right? We walk forward, we walk back. It's a little bit easier when you have someone next to you to actually portray it. It's a little bit harder to show with a recording. I'm not sure on how I can improve on how to do the recording, but if you have any idea how to improve on the recording, comment down below. Also, you can comment down below what type of video or training video you would like to see next. Okay, so again, let's go over it. We walk forward, walk back, we try to punish the button, right? Is a great example of showing it, because someone will show their option. Someone will try and walk forward, or someone will try to check you for trying to walk forward, and then we can walk back and then try and hopefully whiff punish something. And that's kind of how that part of the game plays. So the next one that I mentioned is that when your opponent walks, or when you walk forward, your opponent walks back. Okay, so in those cases, okay, so in those cases, what happens is that your opponent continually keeps walking back. Right? They keep getting scared of the situation, they keep walking back. Then lo and behold, they find themselves in this situation here. So once we're in this situation here, we are no longer considered in neutral, at least in my eyes. Okay, so what happens now is that we can start enforcing pressure upon them, pelting them down with buttons, whatever have you, or if you decide you want to go in, you got to start going in like that, right? But what happens is that eventually, what the reality is that your opponent is going to keep doing this, and then eventually they're going to want to become the aggressor in this situation. So eventually they're going to realize that their back is getting too close to the wall, and they're going to try to get hyper aggressive. In those cases, you either want to, when now the momentum has shifted onto your end, where your opponent has to make the decision to either walk forward on you, and then you have to make this, sorry, I said that wrong. When you walk forward, right, when your opponent walks forward, you have a decision to either A, give them space to try and whiff punish something, or B, try to contest them on the space that they're trying to take. So that's kind of how the neutral game goes. I really do hope that I was able to explain it to you a little bit better, but I'm going to go over a little bit cliff notes once again. So if you walk forward, your opponent has two options, either trying to walk back or they try to contest the space. In the case that we contest the space, the counter to an opponent trying to contest the space is walking forward and walking back, because if they're just automatically going to try and check the space, then we can try and whiff punish that button when it comes out, because they're trying to check the space. If your opponent continually tries to walk back, we can continually take the space from them, right, without getting too close to them, because if you get too close to them, that's when you get crush and medium kick drive rushed, right? So this is how we push them towards the corner. Once they're in the corner, you can run your offense however you want to do so. And then now that they're there, they have to deal with your offense or whatever however you want to structure it, or however your character structures it. You can go ahead and start running your corner offense. Okay, I truly hope this helps you, or this sheds a little bit of light on how neutral is played, at least at the beginner level. I know this is a lot of information to take in, but feel free to watch this multiple times. Also, I have a video talking about the art of jabs and how they're useful when it comes to applying pressure, either A, when you've knocked them down, or B, when you're trying to wake up in a situation. Okay, hope that helps you. Appreciate you guys watching. Take it easy. Peace.